Hello, 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 hello. Tonight is the night. I'm going to share with you 3 strategies on how you can survive the holidays without the weight gain and without depriving yourself. So, if you're excited about tonight's topic, maybe the holidays can be a struggle time for you, let me know if you're excited for tonight's broadcast. And if you know of anyone who could benefit, don't forget to either invite them to the broadcast or you can share this with them as well. I'm just checking real quick to make sure everything's sharing on my end. Let's see. All right. So yeah, holiday time can be a struggle for many of us, myself included. Let me tell you, former sugar addict here. And if you feel like you don't have the time to watch this whole, it's going to be like an hour. So just share it to your timeline so you can watch later as well. And oh yeah, Krista says she's excited. Awesome. Yeah, definitely excited. And happy holidays to you as well, Krista. Yes, I've got my red on tonight in honor of the holiday season right here. So yeah, and holiday time can be a little bit of a struggle. So that's why I thought, let me just share with you my tips and my tricks that are very practical that anyone can use, not only during the holiday time, but throughout the year as well. And if you're not familiar with me, I am Pamela Pedrick. I'm a registered nurse, and I'm also a certified health coach. And I'm your health coach teaching you how to lose weight without traditional dieting. Because if it was a one-size-fits-all mentality, we would all be at our ideal weight, right? Can anyone relate to that one? Let me know. So, all right, so I'm just getting my screen up here to share with you all. And let's the party begin. All right. I do have some slides to share with you tonight. All right. So yes, 3 strategies to survive the holidays without the weight gain or depriving yourself. And I like to say not only survive, but actually thrive during this holiday season, because you can actually lose weight by using these tips and strategies, because I myself had actually lost 5 pounds when I started to do this during the holiday season. I was like, what? It's so easy to do. So yes, and you can even start 2020 later. So if you're one to make the same New Year's resolution year after year after year, that was so me, year after year after year, then these tips and strategies will help you as well. All right, so how many of you are here tonight, or maybe you're watching the replay, because the holiday time is just a bit of a struggle for you with all the temptation that's out there, with all the sugar, the baked goods, the pies. Yeah, that was me. Yes. And how many of you are here because you want to not only survive the holidays, but you want to thrive and hey, maybe you lose a couple of pounds as well? Yeah. It is totally doable, let me tell you. So congratulations for being here, whether you're watching me live or the replay, because you could be doing anything else right now in this moment of time, and you chose to be here tonight, or if you're watching the replay, congratulations. So here's how it's going to happen tonight. This is what you will learn. You're going to learn how you can actually enjoy the holiday foods without depriving yourself or gaining weight. Because whenever I was on a diet and holiday times or birthdays or festivities came, it was always like I felt like I was depriving myself, and that's no fun, right? Can anyone relate to that one? You'll also discover how to navigate all the parties and family time successfully so that you won't overindulge and regret it later. And this tip I'm going to give you here, one of my clients, she's like, thank you so much, because I'm going to out of state for Thanksgiving. And so she was excited to learn these tips and tricks as well. And the number one reason that we actually crave those holiday baked goods, and actually how we can stop those cravings in its tracks so that you can not only survive the holidays, but thrive as well. And with any workshop or with any longer Facebook Live that I do, I like to remind us all, myself included, that It's what you think you already know that prevents you from learning. And that was psychologist Claude Bernard who had that quote. And so come to this with a beginner's mind. There might be some tips and strategies in here that you're like, oh, I already know that. I've heard about it before. But then the question is, are we truly implementing them? Because if we are, then we are seeing those results. And this is a reminder for myself just as much as for you guys out there. So come to tonight, or if you're watching the replay, come to it with a beginner's mind. Yeah, and Krista says she totally relates because we don't like feeling deprived, right? Exactly. We don't like feeling deprived. So who I am, like I said, if you're not familiar with me, yes, I am a registered nurse, and I'm also a certified health coach, and have the honor and the privilege to help women lose weight and to get to their optimal weight for their unique body, but also through the journey to help them and to support them to love themselves and their beautiful bodies in the way that they haven't been able to prior to this. Because I'm on a mission to end the legacy of body distortion as a result of my own personal story as well. I am a best-selling author. I am the featured expert on Lose Weight Now on Amazon's #1 international best-selling book, The One Thing Every Mom Needs to Know. I'm also a writer for healthinsiders.com, which is a health and wellness website. I'm a public speaker. I do workshops in the community and educating women on simple tips and strategies that anyone can use to not only lose weight, but to get healthy as well. And I provide a safe container for women to come together to get real and to cut through the whole BS of the diet industry about issues that are facing us, right, as women, and to get real and to have that safe space for them. I'm also the featured expert in the next book in the best-selling series that'll be released actually tomorrow. I'm the featured expert on holistic health for increased energy, and that book is The One Thing Every Mompreneur Needs to Know. So, but my life has not always been this way. In fact, to be honest with you, I was a closeted weekend binge eater. I would binge eat constantly on the weekends. Friday night, Thursday night, get my binge food. And my unwritten policy was I had to have it all eaten by Monday because I didn't want to feel like crap during the weekend or during the work week, right? How many of you out there can relate? But I never acknowledged that I was a binge eater because I didn't do it all the time. It was just the weekend, right? But holiday time was really, really struggle for me because I not only binged during the weekend, I did it every single day of the holiday season. Started with October 31st, technically November 1st, because I would buy the Halloween candy that's buy one, get one, right? And all the holiday sales. So I'd buy my bags of candy. And that started my whole binge fest for the holiday season. And my birthday happens to be January 4th. So not only was it past the new year, but all through the month of January that I just continued to eat and eat and eat, to get rid of all the holiday leftovers that were in the freezer. I was at my highest weight ever. I had absolutely no energy whatsoever. I was stressed. I felt uncomfortable in my own skin. In fact, so uncomfortable that during the holiday season, other than family events, I would say no to any social engagement because I did not feel comfortable in my skin. First off, the fact that I have to buy an outfit in a different size and to go and to try something, that fitting room with all the mirrors was just a real big stressful event for me. I didn't even want to go there. Yes, we can find clothes that for our body tape and all that, but that was such a big stressor for me. So I remember vividly one holiday season, actually it was my birthday, coming home and, after eating all the lovely birthday dinner and having dessert, because I always had room for dessert, sitting on my green couch with one cat on one side, another cat on the other side, watching for the 100th millionth time the romantic comedy Bridget Jones's Diary. And if you're not familiar with that film, Renee Zellweger is the protagonist. She plays the lead actress, Bridget Jones, who, it's a romantic comedy, and she's overweight, she smokes, she drinks, and she doesn't date the healthiest men. She always dates the bad boys and doesn't have the healthiest relationships. And through the course of the movie, you see her struggle with that. And then she comes to the point where she decides, this year, I'm going to lose that weight. I'm going to stop smoking. I'm going to cut back on my drinking. I'm going to date men who are no longer the bad boys, but, have healthy relationships. And as the music's playing in the background, you see her, writing her goals for her weight and on the scale and, throwing out her cigarettes. I'm going, you go, girl, literally out loud. And I paused and I thought to myself, well, where's my you go, girl moment? What about me? I'm heading to my 30s and pretty soon be 40s. Life goes by fast when you think about it. And I'm thinking, is this going to be my life? Am I going to be this same spot next year on my birthday? Because you see, what I had done is, yes, I had eaten great, but during the movie, I got out not one slice of cake, not two slices, but I got the whole rest of the pan of cake on my lap, eating with the leftover ice cream. And I felt physically sick to my stomach because I had eaten a really good dinner and then some. And I'm thinking, is this going to be me? Once again, next year, like binge eating, and just having no self-control, no having that sugar addiction, being at my highest weight ever. And I feel disgusting in my own skin. Is this going to be my life? And I thought, you know what? Where's my you go girl moment? It's up to me. So what I did is I researched some things, and I didn't want to do another diet because, to be honest, I am a reformed professional yo-yo dieter. I've been on many diets before, would lose weight and always end up inevitably gaining it all back within 6 months or less, usually with a pound or two more. With that, I was just so frustrated with the whole diet mentality. But I found something that was more of a mentorship program where I got coaching, and they didn't say, we're going to give you a list of foods to eat or a certain meal plan. It's like, we're going to find what's going to work for your unique body. We're going to help you with those hidden obstacles to losing weight. And we're going to help you to slowly transform into a healthy lifestyle, get rid of those unhealthy habits, and putting new healthier patterns in place. I'm like, awesome. This sounds so cool because, first of all, don't tell me what to eat, not to eat, because usually what not to eat is like 10 times longer than what to eat. I said, awesome, sign me up. So I invested in that, and I worked with a coach who believed in me when I didn't even believe in myself. And, I wanted quick results, right? How many of you can relate to this? I wanted quick results, especially because that was the first time I'd ever admitted that I was a binge eater. I thought, dang on it, I should be over this binge eating by now, because I had such shame and such guilt, because as a registered nurse, I should have my life figured out when it comes to weight and when it comes to health. But all you hear in the medical community is eat fewer calories and move more. But if it was truly one size fits all, we would all be at our ideal weight, which is why I didn't want to do another diet. And working with my coach and having that accountability and having her troubleshoot and look at things from a different perspective than I was looking at things, she had me get up and dance and cheer myself, even for the small successes that I thought, weren't successes, because I wanted bigger results. But she's like, celebrate every small result. And slowly but surely, I stopped the binge eating. I had so much more energy, which was such a blessing for me. And I slowly started to lose the weight. And I felt, and for the first time in my life, it was the first time I ever truly loved myself and my body for the miracle that it truly is. Because I had lost significant amount of weight, but I was still with the body distortion, like my wiggly bits and pieces. I need to work on my belly. I need to work on my booty. And I didn't want to go there again. So this was truly a time where I really loved my body and getting to the optimal weight for my unique body, which is not a size 2, and not everyone is designed to be a size 2. But I'm here to let you know that you too can have your you go girl moments, whether it's to fit in the clothes that are in your closet right now, whether it's to actually lose some pounds this holiday season rather than gaining the typical holiday weight, whether it's to get into that bathing suit and feel comfortable walking and strutting yourself on the beach, or maybe it's so that you can be that present under the tree for your partner this year, that you too can have your you go girl moment. And there might be some things that you might not even be aware of that prevent you from going after what you really want, because of the weight, because of low energy, or both. And I'm here to let you know that you too can have your you go girl moment. So I'm so excited to share with you these 3 strategies to not only survive during the holidays, but actually thrive without the weight gain and without depriving yourself. So here we go. Now, you might not realize it. Maybe you have, maybe you're one like me, like typical weight gain, but the average weight gain is between 1.3 to 5 pounds from October to New Year's. So it kind of starts around Halloween time, which I can totally relate. But yet it can take until April to lose it all. The weight that we gained during the holiday season, not to mention the weight we want to lose for New Year's, those New Year's resolutions, it can take until April to lose it all, if at all. Because research shows that 95% of us who make those New Year's resolutions to lose weight, we actually fall off the wagon by February 1st. So many of us, that was so me, can't even make it until February 1st. And you see how much sugar is in the typical foods that we eat. So this doesn't even include the holiday goodies that we consume. For instance, your soda has 8 teaspoons of sugar if you drink in regular soda. Cashew chocolate cookie, which is considered to be a healthier option, actually has 1.5 teaspoons of sugar. And then, of course, you've got your sweet tea, Snickers bar, which was my all-time, my go-to during my sugar addiction days. And of course, half a cup of ice cream is 4 teaspoons of sugar. I gotta say, I don't think they include Ben and Jerry's in there because I think some of the brands have a little bit more sugar than usual. So yeah, so that's the typical holiday weight gain for many of us. And I have to say, for me, I was always at the at least 5 pounds during the holiday weight gain for me, always at the higher end. But when you think about it, there is a cost to not only the holiday weight gain, but being overweight and unhealthy as it is, right? So think about what might be the cost for you personally. For me, it was, I felt uncomfortable with my skin. I felt, actually, I could say disgusting, disgusted with myself. I couldn't fit into the clothes that were currently in my closet. I always had to go, let me go buy another size in my clothing. And I slowly withdrew from social engagements. So for me, a lot of it was a social cost. And in the workshops that I do, some women would say it was a self-esteem. My self-esteem was affected, or there's a financial cost when it comes to our health. So I'm just making sure we're running smoothly here. So there can really be a cost to everything when it comes to this. All right. So think about for yourself, what is the cost? Well, here's some of it, especially when it comes to the holidays. The holidays can be a stressful time, but not only the holidays, but for me, I was stressed with my work, and I was stressing about the weight during my time where I had such body distortion. I was stressed about, oh, I need to lose another inch here, or my booty's not a J-Lo low booty. And you're thinking, of course, only J-Lo has her own booty, right? I was tired all the time. And for me, my self-esteem was really, really took a huge hit for me. And of course, the clothes not fitting, difficulty falling asleep for many of us. It's not that we have to go to the restroom that wakes us up. It's the fact that we've had so much sugar throughout the day that our insulin is being released during night, which wakes us up. And then we realize we have to use the bathroom. And lack of motivation. I had no motivation whatsoever. I was going back and forth, really wasn't committed. So I didn't have any motivation whatsoever to stick to any plan. So, that takes us longer to commit and to stay consistent. And lack of consistency or unable to be consistent is the number one struggle that I hear with women when it comes to weight and health. So here we go. 3 strategies to survive the holidays without sabotaging your weight or depriving yourself. Strategy number 1, we're going to cut it. Strategy number 2, we're going to have some proper planning. And strategy number 3, we're going to breathe. So strategy 1, we're going to cut it. And here's what I mean by this. We're going to cut out eating when we are not physically hungry. Say what? Yeah. Many of us eat when we're not hungry. So you got to figure out, what is your signs of hunger? And here's some of us, me as well. We have some stomach pangs or actually our belly growls, or there's that emptiness in the stomach. It took me some time to figure out what my hunger signal was because I was not allowing myself to get hungry. It actually took probably about 12 hours before I actually got a hunger signal because of all the food that I had been consuming. Because when we eat when we're not hungry, that's just adding more calories, more sugar, more fat to our body, on a body that really can't do anything with it except put it in our body as fat. And some of us experience the emptiness in our stomach right before our stomach gives us that growl. Irritability, headache, low energy, or some fatigue. I'm starting to find out recently with me now, I'll be like, oh yeah, it's probably time to eat when I have that low energy or fatigue, if there's nothing that was an energy stealer that I had done or was surrounded by. So you have to figure out for yourself, what is your hunger? You might actually know already. So we're going to cut out eating when we're not physically hungry, and we're going to eat only when we are hungry. Now, we're not going to wait to the point where we're going to be the miserable bee and have the hangries. That's like when your gas tank's on empty. We don't want to get to that point. But what we want to do is when we have that sign of hunger, that lets our body know that, hey, I need some nourishment. And you can eat your meal or a snack if you can't get to your meal right away. And also, we can have some difficulty concentrating. What can we do in the interim? Yeah, Krista, is if you feel like if you can't wait till you're physically hungry, just eat a protein, because that'll hold you over. That's what some people actually, because they've had so much food and they've got a lot of excess fuel on their body, aka fat, that their body might not give them a hunger signal because it's dealing with all the excess. And what happens is when we do wait till when we're physically hungry, when we get that growl or whatever it may be for you, 10 minutes prior, our body is actually burning off some fats. Yeah, our body's like, okay, I need some fuel, so let me get some of this fat and burn it for fuel. And then 10 minutes later, about 10 minutes later, our body will actually give us a signal, okay, I need some more fuel because I burned some fat. But in the interim, what you can do is eat some protein, like some nuts, whatever nuts that you like. Brazil nuts are really good because they're actually a complete protein. Almonds, walnuts, and just eating like a handful. Start with about 6 of them to kind of hold you over with that. That's a great question, Krista. And then part 2 of the cut it is we're going to cut our food in half. This is a really easy, down and dirty way to watch. If you're one to watch your calories and your fat grams, this is an easy way without having to count it to naturally cut it out. Many of us are so used to eating such huge portions, especially when we go out to eat at restaurants. The portions are like 2 to 3 times more than what is actually a serving size, that we're eating too much for our body to handle at any one given meal. So you're going to eat only half of what is on your plates, or serve yourself half of what you normally would eat, or you can use a smaller plate. Now, the trick to this is, because many of us are such visual people, if we have a larger plate in hand and we only put half of our food on it, we're going to feel deprived, because we're thinking, we're not acknowledging it, but we're like, okay, there's more room on this plate. I feel like I'm depriving myself. So if you actually use a smaller plate and put half of what you normally would serve yourself on that plate, you won't feel as deprived. And then, because you've eaten such a smaller portion of food, you can enjoy the hottie goodies. You can have that cookie, you can have that cake, you can have that pie. But as with our food, we're going to only take half of that serving. Now, for me, I was always a Christmas cookie person. I love Christmas cookies. And there are certain cookies that my mom's supervisor would make every holiday season. And she put it in these special tins, and it was I think it was a macaroon. It had powdered sugar. It was like a shortbread kind of cookie. I would eat I would take as much as my mom would allow me to have and eat it when serving. So typically I would take about 4 cookies. So when I first started doing this, I would just cut back to just 2 cookies. Or if you have a slice of pie, half of what you normally would serve yourself, or cake, or half the serving of ice cream. And once again, you can actually serve it in a smaller plate so you don't feel like you're eating actually half the size. And you're going to enjoy it. Our taste buds are in our mouth, so enjoy the food, savor the flavors, and chew more than 5 times. The average person, we tend to chew just 3.4 times, and then we swallow that bite of food. First off, digestion begins in our mouth. So that saliva has actually enzymes in it to digest our food. So if we're not chewing more and then we just swallow, that food cannot very properly digested because digestion starts in our mouth. Plus, our taste buds are in there. And if you ever gotten yourself so hungry that even like a fruit you normally wouldn't eat tastes really good, that's because our taste buds are really at the point of activation when we're physically hungry. So everything tastes so much better. So enjoy the food. Savor it, chew more than 5 times. When I work with my clients, I give them a little action step to try chewing each bite of food 30 times. Yeah, 30 times to actually get all of that food chewed. Now, there are some foods that when you chew up to 30 times taste really nasty. When you get to that, but just swallow before 30 is all I can say. So that's the second part of cut it out. Enjoy that food. So this is one of my clients, Trisha. I do have, it's called the Real Deal Weight Loss 3-month program. And she said she liked the one on honoring hunger and fullness. And this is what I just shared with you. We're going to honor our hunger by waiting until we're physically hungry to eat. And we're going to honor our fullness by not overeating. And a simple way to do that is just simply cutting your portions in half of what you normally would do so that you don't overeat. Because the goal is to eat only until about 80% full. But when you're eating half of it, that naturally takes you to that point. And she said it was so easy to help her keep her health goals on track. So here's an exercise that I do when I do my workshops. And the question is, what's been hardest? And when I do this, you can do this at home, whether you're doing it now or, later on, and just ask yourself this same question 7 times. What's been hardest? Answer. What's been hardest? Answer. Because it's like an onion. As we ask the question and answer it, we're peeling the onion. The next one, we're peeling the onion. The next one, we're peeling the onion. And when we ask ourselves this question 7 times, we actually get to the core of what potentially would need to be worked on first, what would need to be the priority when you get to that bottom layer. And when I do this in my workshops, we have many women who have an aha, like, wow, I didn't realize that, but that's an issue for me. First off, we women, we never ask ourselves this question, right? What's been hard is we never get asked this, and we never ask this of ourselves of what's been hardest. So it's a way to kind of get all of that out onto paper, and you can kind of see once you get to number 7, what would potentially need to be worked on first, or what's at the core of everything, so to speak. All right. Strategy 2, proper party planning. Say that 5 times fast. Proper party planning. So if you're going out to those holiday, festivities or parties, or you're going out to eat, holidays are a time to go out to eat with all the good food and yumminess. Here's how we're going to properly party plan. First up, before going to that party, many of them are kind of like a buffet style or like a potluck. You kind of bring the side, someone brings the meal, or maybe it's just a dessert one. So there's a couple ways that you can do the strategies. Before going to that party, if it is going to be like a dinner or a lunch, and you're hungry now, but the party's not for like an hour or 2 later, eat a handful of nuts or something that's a small amount of protein. Greek yogurt's also good, a little bit of Greek yogurt. A little bit of scrambled eggs, but you want it to be a protein because that protein's going to hold you over until you get to that party. Or if you know that there's going to be a real limited on healthy foods, or maybe foods that you just don't like, maybe it's a food preference, eat a small healthy meal. For example, a salad with nuts or with chicken, because you get your vegetables with your protein. With anything, you want to have some protein in with it because protein's going to hold you over longer. And most of us are not getting enough protein as it is. So you want to make sure. So that's one tip. Before you go, you feel like you might be tempted to overeat, eat a small amount of protein, or eat a small meal before going if you know there's going to be a limited amount of healthy foods, or bring the healthy meal with you. A lot of times I was in a position of, okay, I saw the menu. I'm like, well, there's not really a whole lot that I would like to eat. So I'm just going to bring a healthy meal with me and share with everyone else. And then when you're eating at the party, you're going to do the cut it, okay? You're going to cut your foods in half. You're going to do strategy number 1. But you're going to take a little bit of each food, of the foods that you like. And you're actually going to taste each item, because I don't know about you, but a lot of times when I go to a party, there might be a favorite food that I really love, but I just don't like that particular food because of how it was made. I remember one time I was at an event and it seemed like everything had relish in it. And yeah, I like relish, but in some things it was like, way too much relish. So even though I'd like that food, it was just how it was made at that particular time that I didn't like it. So you want to taste it and rate your foods. The foods that you don't like, put it to the side. Don't even worry about it. Put it aside your plate. Don't even eat it. And then you're going to rate your foods from favorite to least, and you're going to eat your favorites first. We, being the humans that we are, we tend to eat our favorites last. Why? Because we want to savor it. We're going to savor. It's going to be the happy ending, so to speak, and we're going to savor it after we eat everything else. Switch that around. Eat your favorites first. For me, whether it be Thanksgiving or Christmas, my favorite is the sweet potato casserole, my all-time favorite. So I would eat that a little bit first with my turkey or my ham or whatever it might be. And just kind of go back and forth between your favorites, because by the time you get to the foods that aren't really your favorites, you're usually a little bit fuller and you can say no to it a lot more easier. Whereas if we were to leave the favorite foods last, we always have room for our favorites, right? This is what got me into trouble so many times. Even if it's one bite left, well, it's my favorite, so I'm going to eat it because it's my favorite, even if I'm full. So just switch that around. Yeah, always ask yourself, is it really worth the calories or the overeating or the stress that you're putting your body under by eating more than we should? So write your foods from favorite to least and eat your favorites first, and then you will still have room for that lovely holiday food, whatever it is that you like. So that is proper party planning. You're going to eat slowly and take a sip of beverage in between bites. If you feel like it's really difficult for you to slow down, because the whole point is to slow down by chewing longer and take a sip of your beverage in between bites, because that'll help slow you down. And then it'll also allow you to gauge whether you want to finish those last couple of bites of what's on your plate. Because is it really worth? Because a couple bites here and there all holiday season long, that's why we gain 1.3 to 5 pounds during the holiday season. And then eat half of what you have. Or if you've already, and then you can go back, because if you've already given yourself a little bit of taste of everything, then you go back and actually get the parts of what you like. And then you know to leave the ones that you didn't like to the side and don't even worry about. And eat half of what you have. So have you gotten value so far? Yeah, Krista says, great tip. Oh, hi, Natalie. How you doing? Yeah, and these are tips and strategies that you can use not only the holiday season, but all year long. Awesome. And this is how my first holiday season that when I was really, really committed and had the coaching under my belt, I actually lost 5 pounds during the holiday season. I was like, what? This actually works, because that was a real test for me, the holiday season. All right, so this is one of my clients, Nancy, and she came to one of my workshops, and I had some coaching sessions, and she said that for her, when she began to eat mindfully and cut out the extra sugar by implementing these strategies, her joints stopped hurting and she lost 15 pounds. And she loves to bike. She goes on the trails, and she said she feels so much better and she can do so much more with the biking and going out on the trails. And as a result, you know, she was interested in actually finding out how much sugar was in the box foods. So she actually, I remember she said, I was at 2 hours in the store. I read every single label. There was so much added sugar to stuff. I said, yeah. And then when we typically eat those holiday goodies, we're adding more sugar on top of the sugar we're already consuming, which is why many of us tend to gain that typical holiday weight. Strategy number 3, we're going to overcome the number 1 reason that we overeat the holiday food, which is stress. Stress, yes. Research shows that the majority of us Americans live a stress-filled life. And maybe your stress isn't like I'm like at a number 10, like I'm so stressed out every day, but maybe your stress is what like mine was, where it's consistently at like a 5, 4, 5, or 6, and that's that low chronic stress. So I'm going to share with you a tip on how to lower that stress in 2 minutes or less. And if you're a mama of little ones and your only me time is in the bathroom, if you know what I'm talking about, you can do that in the bathroom when you're having your me time. So stress and weight. When we are stressed, our bodies actually turns off digestion. And so the food that we eat cannot be properly digested, and it is stored as fat. What? Yes. And I speak to many women when they come to me, they're like, oh, I feel like I'm eating pretty healthfully, and we troubleshoot what they're eating. I'm like, absolutely. Then I ask them, how's your stress level? And and it will vary from day to day, whether they're at work or they're at home. But then the average is they're usually at higher than a 5. And I said, yep, it's stress, because the reason why our bodies turns off digestion is because when we're under stress, our body can't determine if we're being chased by a lion, or we've lost our keys, we're 10 minutes late for work, and the cat or dog just puked all over the floor, or the baby needs to be fed, right? Or is crying hysterically. It just knows that we're stressed. So in order to prepare us to either fight that stressor or to run away from it, it diverts the blood from our stomach and puts it to our arms and our legs, which is why it needs to turn off digestion, because that blood that's used to actually digest our food is being shunted away so that we can fight that stressor or we can run away from it. Stress is the #1 obstacle when it comes to losing weight, and it's the main reason why many of us gain weight in the belly area. So if you're one that you're like, oh my goodness, this belly fat, how can I get rid of it? And that was so me. I couldn't even blame it on kids because I never birthed any babies. But for me, it was that constant low chronic stressor, stressful days, but I was constantly at a 5 or a 6 every day. So we can actually turn off stress and turn on digestion, and we can do this in 2 minutes or less. And research shows it's going to be deep breathing, which is diaphragmatic breathing, breathing all the way down to our diaphragm is how we turn off stress. And there was a study done where they actually they measured their cortisol levels, which is that stress hormone. Too much of it's great for that stress, but too much of it and too long term of it actually causes us to gain, where it makes it difficult to lose the weight. So what they did is they measured the cortisol levels of stress participants before and after using deep breathing technique. So they come in, they're stressed, they test their cortisol level. They run them through some deep breathing, diaphragmatic breathing techniques, and then they measure their cortisol level after. Deep breathing significantly lowered the cortisol levels of all the stress participants when they did this, and they were able to test it with their cortisol levels. So, and the fact that they're able to use that word significantly, in research, there has to be a certain value for them to actually use that term significantly. So that means it works so well across the board that it really works. So rate your daily stress levels from a 1 to a 10. 10 is you are really stressed out, when you're like, no, I'm not stressed at all. Or take the average of your week. And then, is your daily stress 5 or higher? 5 or higher. If your average is 5 or higher, you are stressed. And then it affects not only our weight, but our health as well. If your stress is 5 or higher, or even in these moments, I'm going to share with you, it's called the 5-5-7 breathing technique, and it's this deep diaphragmatic breathing. And this is just one technique in the toolbox. So the 5 is you're going to inhale for a count of 5. The second 5 is you're going to hold that breath for a count of 5. The 7 is you're going to exhale for a count of 7. So the exhale is actually longer than the inhale. And so when we do this, we're going to have our feet on the ground. I actually have a step stool because my feet can't touch the ground in this chair. So I have my feet on my step stool. You're going to sit in just in a position of comfort. And you can either close your eyes or keep your eyes open. And it's going to look like this. So it's going to be Now, when you inhale, you want to make sure that your belly is coming out, because that lets you know that you are taking that deep diaphragmatic breath. I know for me in particular, when I first started doing this, I was so used to sucking it in, right? Sucking that belly in, that I wasn't breathing all the way through to a diaphragmatic breath. So let that belly come out, because that lets you know you are taking that deep breath. So once again, you're going to inhale for a count of 5, hold for a count of 5, and then exhale for a count of 7. So it looks like this. Once again. Now, if you do this technique 10 times, that is 2 minutes. However, you might not need to do it 10 times. You might need to just do it 5 times. So check in with yourself, and that's how you can lower your stress in 2 minutes or less. If you feel like that you're stressed before you eat, make sure you do this technique, because that'll turn off the stress and turn on digestion, so that you can properly digest that food and it will not be stored on your body as fat. Yay! And many of my clients, when they do this, when I walk them through it, I say how they feel, and the tension in their neck and their shoulders is relieved. So this is really great to kind of loosen up those muscles as well. So this is one of my clients, Brandy. And when she came to me, she's like, I'm a sugar addict. I'm like, me too. I can totally relate. And her vision is, she has such a heart for the homeless population. And she really wanted to go out and be there where they were physically, out in the woods, out in the forest. And there's a part of where they are where you can only drive so far, and then you actually have to get out of your vehicle and walk the rest of the way to get to where they're living. And she's like, I really want to go out there and serve them, and to help them, with food and water, and help them with services that the community can provide for them. But she's like, I don't have the stamina to do that. And when she came to me, she actually came off of a very popular weight loss program that many of you will hear come the new year, advertising on TV. And she said, don't tell me what to eat. Every program I do, they tell me what to eat, what not to eat. And I'm burned out by all the foods to eat and all the lists and all that. I said, totally cool, not a problem. And we asked her stress level. She was really stressed. So just by implementing these techniques on lowering her stress without telling her what to eat or giving her a food journal or anything like that, she lost 7 pounds in 6 weeks just working on her stress. And she said her energy and her sharp thinking were steadily coming back. Now, 7 pounds in 6 weeks is what the average quote unquote diets will give you. And all we did was work on her managing her stress better. And then she naturally started to work on watching what was in the sugar, her sugar consumption, which was awesome. Very easy for her to do. I remember the first time in session when she said, I was able to walk all the way out to where their homeless population is. I was able to help them, and I was not out of breath. I had the stamina. So that was her vision for her, and she was able to get to that. So what tool or technique will you commit to using? Or maybe, what's one tool or technique that you're like, oh, wow, I never thought about that. That actually makes sense. That's something that sounds pretty cool and easy to use. For everyone that I teach the 5-5-7 breathing to, bar none, they always say that is their favorite and they're excited to use it. Yeah. Or maybe it's for me, when I first started implementing these techniques, for me, it was really easy for me once I got in the habit of cutting my food in half or eating off of a smaller plate. So that prevented me from overeating, because as a former binge eater, it was very easy for me to overeat. And that allowed me there's a cutoff time, and I didn't feel deprived because I was still able to have my dessert, to have that holiday goodiness, right? Without feeling like I was depriving myself. And when the food's in your face, like I worked, wherever I worked is always the same. Lovely coworkers bringing in all the donuts and the pies and the cookies and all that. I was able to say no, because I was able to say, no, I'm not hungry just yet, but I'll come back to you later, right? I wasn't depriving myself. So, which was a blessing, and it was so cool to do. So all these tools and techniques are awesome, right? But how many of us get a tool or a strategy to use, or like we know what we need to do, but we just don't do it? How many of you can ever like, yeah, that was so me. Like, I knew what to do, but I wasn't doing it. I didn't have anyone to hold me accountable or give me that support. And I hear this all the time, because lack of consistency is the number one reason why most of us are not successful, other than not finding what's going to work for your unique body as well. So how to really get those results now? Now, what I've seen is that when women such as my clients, Brandy, Trisha, and Nancy, actually take the steps to commit to getting the support to not have to go out and figure out on their own how to lose the weight, how to survive the holidays, and how to get their energy back, we see a few things happen. They start to lose their weight. Their energy's coming back. They are more empowered in their own lives, so much so that they take the time for self-care because they have tools that they can use to help on their journey. But a lot of women who come to me feel like they just don't have the time to invest. They have such busy lives. Their time stretched out as it is. And they're like, I'll wait till later when there's more time. But here's the thing. There's never going to be a perfect time. We're always going to be busy. Right now it's the holiday season. Then it's going to be coming January. Kids are in school. There's always going to be time issues. But when women are willing to carve out the time to learn how to lose the weight, to learn how to say no to overeating, and to get their energy back, what we find is that we can actually save you hours, if not months of time in dealing with the constant fatigue, in dealing with the stress, in dealing with the colds and the flus that the excessive sugar consumption causes us to have because our immune systems are so compromised. We have to get to the front side of this, and that's what I mean by investing in time. Now, what I want to tell you is what's true for me. I am 100% committed to seeing you get those results, to seeing you have that you go girl moment that I mentioned earlier on the broadcast. But I've not seen this work well or permanently without support because there's so many different ways to do it. If you Google, there's page upon page upon page of diet after diet after diet. And many of them are not appropriate for each of our unique bodies. And so when we go on that diet and then we fail, we feel like that we're the failure and not that the diet has failed us because it wasn't for our unique body. There's so many different ways to do it. There's so many different methods. And if we don't have that kind of support, that someone to help hold our hand and help us demystify all the information that's out there, it's very easy to feel overwhelmed, to feel frustrated, and to spin, right? And many women are out there all alone and they're spinning and they feel frustrated on their journey. So I am 100% committed to seeing you get those results, for you saying yes to the transformation that you are ready to say yes to. And so I want to put a stake in the ground that you do have the time, that you do have the resources to invest in the transformation that you are ready to say yes to, and you are so worth that transformation. So I want to invite you to take me up on a completely complimentary, free, one-on-one breakthrough session. And what I call this breakthrough session is the Real Deal Weight Loss Breakthrough Session. And this is a session for women who are busy, who are go-getters, who love their careers, they love their family, but they find it just hard to fit it all together, to fit the weight loss and the health in with the career, with their job, with their family, especially now with the holiday time, right? But they do want to fit it all together because they have such big dreams, they're such go-getters, and they want to know how to fit it all together. So once again, this one-on-one free complimentary Real Deal Weight Loss Breakthrough Session is my invitation to you. I've made some extra spots available in my calendar for those of you who are really hungry for this type of support. Because during our time together, I'm going to ask you a series of questions to find out what your life has been like, to find out what's going on with you, to find what potentially could be those hidden obstacles to losing the weight. And during our time together, I'll be giving you a weight loss blueprint based on your unique body and life recipe. It's an individualized weight loss blueprint. And the call is going to be either by phone or Zoom call. You don't have to come to me. I don't have to come to you. Many of us are really busy, right? So that saves that time there. So if you feel like I could have used the support like yesterday, let's get you onto my calendar. It is a first come, first serve. And because this time really can be different. And to get to your session, it's pamelapedrick.net/session. To get to my calendar, I do have, like I said, I have opened up some spots available in my calendar. And so if you feel like you really need this, you really want this, please get on my calendar now because spots are going to be filling up. I do have a workshop coming up and I'll be offering them the same as well. Once again, it's your time to walk through some questions to find out what potentially could be your hidden obstacles to losing weight, or maybe it's surviving the holidays. Maybe for you, it's like, you know, I feel like I'm pretty good with my weight, but I'm just stressed or I have no energy. We're going to walk you through a series of questions. And once again, you will get that weight loss blueprint that is individualized for you, for your unique body, and for your unique life recipe. And I do so look forward to talking with you and to find out what life has been like for you. And this is also time to see if we're a good fit to continue to work together. And if not, totally cool. We will still remain friends. So I'm going to post that link in the comments here on Facebook, so that you have access to this. So it'll be a clickable link. And once again, it's as spots are available in my calendar. It is a complimentary one-on-one. It's about 45 minutes in duration because this time really can be different. So it's going to pop up in the comments. One second here. And that's a clickable link for you. And now let's get to this. All right. So I'm going to post up here. So here's the link to have that free session, one-on-one, real deal weight loss breakthrough session. You can use these tips and strategies to get you to not only surviving the holidays, but thriving. But if you feel like, you know, 2020, you're making that New Year's resolution to lose weight, to get healthy, and you feel like you need some kind of support, this is why I've made this available for you, because 2020, we're in a new decade. OMG. Let's stop making the same New Year's resolutions 10 separate times in a row, which research shows the average person makes the same New Year's resolutions 10 separate times. I think I made mine about 20 separate times. Let's make 2020 your year to not only lose weight, to not only get healthy, but to love your beautiful body and appreciate your body in a way that maybe you have not been able to before. So I do so thank you all for stopping by. Live viewers, thank you so much. I do so appreciate it. And if you're watching the replay, thank you so much. That's available for you replay viewers as well. Just click on the clickable link in the comments below. And happy holidays and Merry Christmas. And I will see you on the next broadcast.